In 1909, a British intelligence officer named John Coleman made a startling claim. He alleged that the world wasn't run by governments, presidents, or prime ministers. Instead, he said, true power rested in the hands of 300 individuals who met in secret to control global events. They called themselves the Committee of 300, and according to Coleman, they had been pulling the strings of world history for over 2 centuries. But Coleman's revelations came at a cost. He was discredited, his career destroyed, and his life threatened. Yet his claims about this shadow government have only grown more compelling with time. The Committee of 300, also known as the Olympians, allegedly traces its origins to the British East India Company in the 1700s. This wasn't just a trading company, it was a private corporation that controlled entire nations, commanded armies, and generated wealth that dwarfed most countries' treasuries. When the East India Company was officially dissolved in 1874, Coleman claimed its leadership didn't disappear. They evolved, forming a secret council that would continue to wield power from the shadows. According to Coleman's research, the Committee of 300 operates as a shadow government above all national governments. They don't seek political office, they control those who do. They don't own companies, they own the people who own companies. The alleged membership list reads like a who's who of global power. European royalty, banking dynasties, media moguls, tech billionaires, and political figures from across the spectrum. Names like Rothschild, Rockefeller, Windsor, and Warburg appear prominently. But the list also includes surprising entries: entertainment figures, religious leaders, and academics who seem far removed from global conspiracy. What unites these individuals, according to Coleman, isn't ideology or nationality. It's the belief that the world's resources and population must be managed by a select few who possess the wisdom and authority to make decisions for humanity's future. Coleman claimed the committee operates through a network of subsidiary organizations, think tanks, foundations, international bodies, and financial institutions that appear independent but actually serve the committee's agenda. Organizations like the Council on Foreign Relations, the Trilateral Commission, the Bilderberg Group, and the World Economic Forum are allegedly front groups that implement committee directives. The committee's goals, according to Coleman, include population reduction, centralized global government, elimination of national sovereignty, and the creation of a post-industrial society where a small elite rules over a much smaller global population. But how much of this is verifiable? Coleman's background lends some credibility to his claims. He served in British intelligence and had access to classified documents. His knowledge of intelligence operations and global power structures is demonstrably extensive. However, many of his specific claims remain unproven. The alleged membership list, while containing real, powerful individuals, has never been independently verified. The committee's supposed meetings and decisions are documented only in Coleman's writings. Yet certain patterns in global events do align with Coleman's descriptions of committee objectives. The push toward global governance, the concentration of wealth among fewer individuals, and the coordination of policies across supposedly independent nations all match his predictions. Dr. Carroll Quigley, a Georgetown University professor who taught Bill Clinton, wrote extensively about similar power structures in his book Tragedy and Hope. Quigley had access to the records of what he called the Network, a group of influential individuals coordinating policy across national boundaries. There does exist, and has existed for a generation, an international Anglophile network, Quigley wrote. I know of the operations of this network because I have studied it for 20 years and was permitted for 2 years, in the early 1960s, to examine its papers and secret records. Quigley's academic credentials and documented access to insider information lend weight to claims about coordinated global power structures, even if he didn't specifically endorse Coleman's Committee of 300 theory. The World Economic Forum's annual meeting in Davos provides a visible example of how global elites coordinate policy. Heads of state, corporate leaders, and influential figures gather to discuss shaping the global agenda. While these meetings are public, Much of the real business happens in private sessions closed to media and observers. Attendees often leave with remarkably similar talking points and policy priorities. Klaus Schwab, founder of the World Economic Forum, has openly discussed the need for a great reset of global capitalism and the creation of stakeholder capitalism, where corporations serve broader social goals rather than just shareholders. Critics see this as evidence of coordinated efforts to reshape global society according to elite preferences, exactly what Coleman alleged the Committee of 300 was designed to accomplish. The COVID-19 pandemic provided what some researchers see as a case study in coordinated global response. Lockdown policies, vaccine mandates, and economic measures were implemented with remarkable similarity across different countries with different political systems. While public health officials explain this coordination as necessary for fighting a global pandemic, critics point to it as evidence of supranational coordination that bypasses democratic processes. The rapid development and deployment of digital vaccine passports, the push toward cashless societies, and the expansion of surveillance technologies during the pandemic all align with objectives Coleman attributed to the Committee of 300 decades ago. Perhaps most compelling is the documented existence of similar elite coordination groups. The Bilderberg Group, founded in 1954, brings together approximately 130 political leaders and experts from industry, finance, academia, and media for annual private conferences. No resolutions are passed, votes taken, or policy statements issued. Yet attendees often emerge with aligned perspectives on major global issues. The Group of 30, founded in 1978, consists of senior figures from the private and public sectors and academia who aim to deepen understanding of international economic and financial issues. Their recommendations often become policy in major economies. These documented groups demonstrate that elite coordination does occur, even if the specific structure Coleman described remains unproven. So does the Committee of 300 exist as Coleman described? The evidence is circumstantial but compelling. Global power structures do operate above national governments. Elite coordination does shape policy across supposedly independent nations. Whether this coordination happens through a formal Committee of 300 or through the documented network of international organizations and informal relationships may be less important than recognizing that such coordination exists. The concentration of wealth and power among fewer individuals has accelerated dramatically in recent decades. The richest 1% now control more wealth than the bottom 50% of humanity combined. This concentration of resources inevitably translates into concentration of influence over global events. John Coleman's warnings about the Committee of 300 may have been ahead of their time. Whether or not his specific claims about membership and structure are accurate, the broader pattern he identified, the emergence of supranational power structures that operate beyond democratic accountability, has become increasingly visible. The question isn't whether powerful people coordinate to advance their interests. They obviously do. The question is whether democratic institutions and civil society can maintain meaningful influence over decisions that affect billions of lives. As global challenges require increasingly coordinated responses, the tension between effective governance and democratic accountability will only intensify. The Committee of 300, whether real or symbolic, represents our fears about power exercised in darkness, beyond the reach of those it affects. Thanks for watching Dark Thoughts, where we delve into the shadows of reality that others are afraid to explore. Special thanks to our supporters who make Dark Thoughts possible. Every episode is dedicated to our community members who allow us to explore these controversial topics. So, until next time, question everything, fear nothing, and remember, the darkest thoughts often lead to the brightest truths.